Hey guys, I am here with our UFC 323 recap. As you can see, we didn't do that great, but I'll explain why. It's mostly because of actually really unfortunate circumstances, and that's not just because of one or two fights. It's actually like a lot of different things that happened that were pretty messed up on the card, but we'll explain it in a minute. But let's just get right on into the card. Actually, before that, let's just like look at the chart. So we did pretty good, and we lost a couple times, which did kind of mess up our momentum. But overall, we did win throughout the card. So let's just go explain what happened from the top to the bottom. So we have Marab versus Piotr Jan. Um, I don't even know what to say. I guess Jan really did have a broken arm. Like that's really hard to predict, and unfortunately, we did pick Marab to win. Uh, but that's just not what happened. I guess Piotr Jan just did have a broken arm, but it's just so weird to see because he had a close fight with Song Yadong, who's not like amazing, and he did have a really, really close fight, and I thought he lost to Sugar Sean O'Malley, and he did get dominated by Aljo one time. And then the most dominant fighter at bantamweight lost to Piotr Jan, who's I don't know. But what happened in the fight is basically Jan was landing a lot more. His jab was great. His right hand was great. His kicking was really solid, and Marab couldn't get a takedown on Jan. In fact, Jan had more takedowns and much less attempts. Of course, Marab is gonna get the body lock a lot, and he's gonna shoot. He's gonna like get the takedown. He's gonna get your back with the body lock and then drag you down. But Jan just got popped straight back up every time he got taken down. I don't think it was 2 out of 29 takedowns. I think that's a lie. These numbers are so fucking made up because I think Jan landed more actually. Um, but either way, uh, Jan was just landing more, and then especially when Jan switched to a southpaw, like the body kick was open, obviously, and then Jan landed a huge body kick and completely threw off Marab's momentum in like the third round or something. Especially that's when Marab gets better as the fight goes, more actually closer to the other fighter has worse cardio, and Marab just gets it's just same, right? But Jan really threw off that momentum, made Marab wince and scream, like actually scream. Um, and let's see if we can find any photos. But it was crazy though. Like it was kind of a shutdown, to be honest with you. Uh, let's just look at this. Yeah, it was just complete domination, to be honest. And I'm not saying that Marab had nothing for him, but Marab didn't have much, and he pretty much lost almost every round except for maybe one or two. Like maybe the first round was a Marab round, but I wouldn't even say that. Man, it's hard to predict something like this. But congrats to Piotr Jan. I mean, the Marab era is over at least for a while. I think in a rematch, by the way it looked, Jan is gonna win a second fight, rather a third fight. Yeah, Jan just got better. I don't know what to say, man. Um, as for matchmaking, I'm gonna say Piotr Jan should either fight Umar if he gets a fight in, a title eliminator, a title eliminator in. Fuck, man. Or either that or a rematch with Sean O'Malley, which has been due for quite a while actually, like even before Jan got a title shot. So yeah, I'm gonna say Jan versus O'Malley is the safest one, and Marab, um, he's gonna be out for quite a while. He's taking a ton of damage on the face. Let's see if we can find a photo. Okay, fuck. Uh, there's no after photo. But his face was mangled up. I mean, you can kind of see here, and this was in between like in the middle of the fight. His face was mangled up, and of course, Murav has a lot of heart, and obviously his cardio never goes away. So he was pushing the pace, but that just was bad for him because Jan was just tagging him up anytime he got the chance to try to go forward. Yeah, so Murav's gonna be out for quite a while. Plus, he's really hard on himself after he lost that fight. So yeah, O'Malley versus Jan, and then after quite a big layoff, Marab versus Jan 3 is a good fight. I think I would pick Jan to win though. Honestly, both of them. Uh, but yeah, good fight. We did lose the pick, but you know that happens. It's MMA. Uh, shit, what the fuck is going on? Sorry. Next fight we have Pantoja versus Joshua Van. Now this fight pissed me off because we lost. First of all, the first fight we covered, unfortunate circumstance. We cannot predict the fact that Merab is just gonna have an off night. This one is pretty fucked up because Joshua Van. Look at these numbers. Pantoja, obviously, like they were even by the numbers, they're even, like because they didn't really land anything substantial. Pantoja with 6 significant strikes, probably like the body kicks and the jabs. Joshua Van, like I don't know, just tagging him up on the feet for 2 strikes, and then Pantoja hits him with a body kick or a head kick, either one. It was a kick, not to the legs, and it was caught. And Joshua Van tried to pick up the leg and dump him on the ground, which he did. And then, as he was dumping, Pantoja posts with his arm, and it snaps in half. Like, literally, his elbow is back in the fucking stands, and is like a humerus or whatever you call it. The upper section of his arm is completely in the octagon. It was nasty to see. I mean, is there a... Let's see if there's even any pictures. I wouldn't expect there to be pictures because it was just such a nasty break. Let's see if they show it here. It was really unfortunate to see. And of course, Tatsuro Taira's really shocked about this. Let's see. Okay, of course, they're not going to show it because it was nasty. But, yeah, it was really sad to see because this is a really dominant champ. And it's really tough to say, hey, like, you know, like that's how your title run ends. Pantoja, his arm just snaps, and it wasn't self-inflicted. Technically, Joshua Van picked up his leg and made him post, but it really is an unfortunate circumstance. It really is, and I don't know. I don't know what the next fight should be. So I'm gonna say Joshua Van versus Tatsuro Taira. Uh, as Pantoja recovers because his arm just legitimately. I mean, I hope it didn't break. I hope it was just a dislocation. That's not a big deal. But either way, he's gonna be out for quite a bit of time. Um, and Tatsuro Taira is not because he didn't take that much damage against Moreno. In fact, he barely took any. So yeah, Pantoja versus Van 2 as a rematch after he sits out for a minute. And Tatsuro Taira versus Joshua Van. That's a good fight. We'll see. And next we have Tatsuro Taira versus Brandon Moreno. Now this was great. We won this fight. And oh my god, Tatsuro Taira is amazing. First of all, Tatsuro Taira is like I said, people are crazy to say that I was wrong. He's faster than Brandon Moreno. So in the first round, Tatsuro Taira, I think he gets a takedown. Of course, Moreno is such a good sprawler because he has that forward-leaning stance. But somehow Tatsuro Taira, the GOAT, gets a takedown. And Brandon Moreno pretty much is on bottom position, holding a submission. And I fucking hate the commentators, man. Joe Rogan needs to shut the fuck up. Talking about some Brandon Moreno. Plus DC too. Brandon Moreno. He won that round holding that submission that had absolutely zero threat. Of course, Tatsuro Taira should have like hit more body shots, you know, with that arm he had free because it was completely free the entire time. But I think he was kind of aware of the fact because he's such a good jiu-jitsu fighter that he knows when he is vulnerable, and I guess he didn't want to get into an even worse position by shifting around. But I think that body shot was there for him the entire round, and if he did that the entire round, it would have cemented the round. I still think Tatsuro Taira won the round just by the fact that he was on the top position the entire time. And the submission really wasn't locked in for Brandon Moreno. But whatever, man. Like, whatever Joe Rogan says, you know what I'm saying? Fucking dumbass. But then we have it's the second round, and I think Tatsuro Taira cinched up like a body lock or something, and then got straight on the back or straight into mount or something like that. And then like. They were scrambling for a bit. Tatsuro Taira was in mount, and Moreno was straight, flat like his back was on the canvas, and then he gets back up, not gets back up, but he like turns around, and then Tatsuro Taira has the back mounted, and then just starts slamming his face into the canvas, right? Crazy ground and pound, and it was somewhat of an early stoppage if you really care that much, but he was gonna get stopped anyways because Brandon Moreno had nothing for him. Yeah, Tatsuro Taira dominates the fight, better in his striking, more powerful, uh, faster, way more physical, a better physique, and that's just, I'm not just saying that, but like he's a bigger and more strong person, and he wins. Tatsuro Taira destroys. Let's see what happened. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. He gets on the back mount and then just starts slamming his face in. Look at that. Unanswered shots. Crazy. Yeah, I mean, very, very good fight, though. Very fun. And the next fight, Peyton Talbot versus Henry Cejudo, of course. We picked this one, and we got it right. Peyton Talbot is so good, and I've known it since the beginning. That because of his composure. How I see him is he is like the second coming of Sean O'Malley, an insanely good striker with decent grappling or decent takedown defense. And he's so calm in the fucking octagon. Just zero jitters, zero octagon jitters, to the point where that's the advantage. That's one of the biggest advantages he has. Even against someone as experienced and as like veteran like as Henry Cejudo, Peyton Talbot acts like he's been there longer. And it really shows because Peyton Talbot was, as every round, he was just tagging him up. And Henry Cejudo got a takedown in one round, but Peyton Talbot was pretty much out grappling him the entire fight. And even that takedown, it was top position for a little bit of time, and then Peyton Talbot gets straight back up because Peyton Talbot's grappling is just that much better. I think he genuinely knows what to work on, unlike some fighters. For some strange reason, they have no clue what the fuck to work on. They think they're actually just so good with their own skill set that they're not willing to get better. But Peyton Talbot literally took down Henry Cejudo, a fucking Olympic gold medalist. And he outstruck him too. Of course, Henry Cejudo has that dog in him, and he's got a great chin, so yeah. But Peyton Talbot did get a great knockdown on him. Let's see if they showed it. Obviously, it's a retirement fight for Henry Cejudo, so you know it wasn't. This is like the last 10 seconds of the fight, but it's fine. Like, it was a great retirement fight for Henry Cejudo, because his right hand was landing, and Peyton Talbot, obviously his chin is kind of crazy. That's what some people need to talk about. His chin is so insane, and he never gets he never gets hit like hard enough to get put down. But I mean, shit, I don't even know what to say, bro. W. Peyton Talbot gets a knockdown in the second round, but of course, Henry Cejudo, he's Mexican, so he gets straight back up. Great recovery. I'm going to say, oh shit, I forgot to matchmake these guys. Fuck. Tatsuro Taira, I think he should fight Joshua Van next. And Brandon Moreno, let's give him, what's the fella's name? Asu Almaybayu. Pretty good fight. And then Peyton Talbot, we need to give him something big. I don't like Chito Vera. I don't think that's a good enough fight. Let's give him the loser of Song Yadong versus Sean O'Malley. That's a really good fight. Either way, it's a good fight. The fucking sun is straight in my eyes, man. This is fucking me up, man. It's like the afternoon right now. God damn. But yeah, Henry Cejudo, great retirement. Probably the best combat sport athlete ever. Olympic gold medalist in wrestling and double champ in UFC. Great fighter. And then we have Jan Blachowicz versus Bogdan Guskov. Now, we didn't win this, but we didn't lose this because of the fact that it was a draw, and how betting websites work is, unless you're using a really bad betting website, if it's a draw, they just give you your money back. God damn, bro. This was fucking stupid, honestly. So Jan Blachowicz wins the first round, just because he's more active. And Bogdan Guskov the second round was looking like it was going to be the same as the first round. Boring, kind of pitter patter, but Jan Blachowicz just has better leg kicks and better jabs. And then Bogdan Guskov lands a gigantic right hand straight in the chin on Jan Blachowicz, and he drops him. And then Jan Blachowicz gets dominated on the ground for the entire round. But he survives. And then the third round, Bogdan Guskov loses, like pretty much is losing the entire round. And then Jan Blachowicz nukes him with a shot, puts his ass down, but it was like the last second, so we couldn't say it was a finish. But either way, it was 2 rounds to 1 Bogdan Guskov. But they so conveniently gave a 10-8 to Bogdan Guskov and making it a draw. And that's the unfortunate part about Jan Blachowicz' career. And I don't know if he should call it by now. It depends on how much money he has, but he's been out for so long, plus the fact that he is not losing these fights. I wouldn't say he's winning, but he's not losing these fights. Draw with Ankalaev. Split decision with Alex Pereira that could have gone either way. I honestly thought Jan Blachowicz won. And then Blachowicz split decision with Carlos Ulberg, which could have gone either way. And then this fight with another draw. And it's like Jan Blachowicz could have won all of these fights. And it's really unfortunate to see how it went, but I don't know, man. I think Jan Blachowicz needs to fight again soon. I don't think he should retire, but to be honest, I don't know who he should fight. Let's see if they have any clips. So I think this is the end of the round. Yeah, he just kind of nukes him and almost finishes Bogdan Guskov. But of course, it's the last couple of seconds of the round, and Guskov survives. Yeah, but it was a good fight. It was a good fight. Of course, like, let's see. Let's check the ranking, see who he should fight, because I don't think Jan Blachowicz deserves to lose, or rather deserves to fight down, but I don't really think he deserves to fight up. Maybe like a Volkan Oezdemir. Oezdemir just had a win. Volkan Oezdemir and Bogdan Guskov, I think he should also fight up again. Let's give him Rakic. So I think that's a pretty good fight. And now we go on to the prelims. Grant Dawson versus Manuel Torres. Now this is like the one loss I'll say that's not unfortunate. Unlike every other fucking loss, including that draw that we had. We lost the pick on this one. Did I say we lost? We won the pick. Yeah, we won the pick on Henry Cejudo and Peyton Talbot, but we lost the pick on Manuel Torres versus Grant Dawson, and that's because Grant Dawson he's so lost on the feet, and he attempted like a takedown or two, but they just kind of got stuffed. And of course, Grant Dawson should keep going for them, but he doesn't because he's just a low IQ man, and then he just gets nuked. He was winning on the feet just because he had more activity, but then he just gets shot like a one-shot KO, and then it's over. Grant Dawson has a pretty bad chin, as it turns out. I thought it was just because Bobby Green had good power, but as it turns out, no, not really. Of course, Manuel Torres has crazy power too. But Grant Dawson got shut down in a round. Good fight. Manuel Torres, I think he should fight up the rankings, obviously. He's going to be ranked because Grant Dawson was top 15. Let's see if they show the fight. Here we go. Yep, just gets absolutely nuked and gets put down. Good finish, good fight. Really exciting. I think he should fight maybe like Renato Moicano. That's a pretty fun fight. Renato Moicano has a pretty good chin. Doesn't get immediately chinned unless you're Jalen Turner. And Grant Dawson, I think he should fight what's his name? I think he should fight Chris Duncan. That's like it's the timelines matchup, and Chris Duncan just got a win. But we lost this fight, and we lost this fight as well, which is also a really unfortunate situation. Terrence McKinney had him. He had him. Let's see if they show, because he really had him. Okay, well, they're just showing the finish, but basically Terrence McKinney was just piecing him up on the feet because he's just faster and much more powerful. And then I guess Chris Duncan has like a really good recovery, and of course he's a tough guy, but I didn't think he was that tough. Weathered the crazy storm, and Terrence McKinney obviously gets slower as even like the round goes by, and then gets bombed, and immediately goes down, and then gets just melted on the fence, and then gets submitted. The ref really like let him take a lot more shots than he should have, and then he gets submitted. Of course, it's over. Pretty unfortunate loss for us because Terrence McKinney had him like right there on him. But I mean, you win some, you lose some, and that's just fighting. Terrence McKinney loses. I think Chris Duncan should fight Grant Dawson, as I've said. And Terrence McKinney, I think he should fight. What's that flukester's name? Fuck. I'm thinking of welterweight. Bobby Green. I think Terrence McKinney should fight Bobby Green. I think it'll be a good comeback fight for Terrence McKinney or for Bobby Green. And they're pretty similar spot in the rankings, I think. Maybe Terrence McKinney's a little bit higher, but fun fight. Next, we move on to Macy Barber versus Karine Silva. I actually watched this fight, even though I said I wouldn't. Macy Barber wins. But there's nothing really much to say. It's kind of just a WMMA fight. But what I wanted to say is the ref, man. Mark Smith. What the fuck is going on? I think he needs to be investigated by the way it happened. Because Macy Barber had the top position in the second round. And she got upkicked from the bottom. She got upkicked. And she was on the ground. And that's, of course, that's not legal. Especially on the face. That's not a legal move. And she got upkicked twice. Once before this, and honestly 3 times actually, because she got double upkicked on the second time. And then Macy Barber disengaged, of course, because, you know, that's fucking illegal. That's fucking illegal. Right? And then Macy Barber, like, pretends, you know, like, Marcus Smart kind of pretends to get wobbled. Of course. I mean, you want a point. And then Karine Silva gets a warning, right? Not a point taken off. And then they just get stood back up. As if Macy Barber didn't have top position. I mean, Macy Barber drags her down straight. Like, immediately after. But that's so bullshit. Macy Barber had top position. And then she gets upkicked. And then the point doesn't get taken away. But the position does. So she literally got punished twice for getting upkicked illegally. Illegal moves just don't get punished in the UFC. Because Macy Barber got hit in the face by an illegal upkick. And what did she get rewarded with? Getting wobbled and losing the position. That's crazy. That's crazy. Losing the dominant position. That's crazy. But, I mean, big ups on Macy Barber for winning and getting through that fight. I mean, really good win for her because didn't she have like a seizure and had to pull out immediately? I mean, yeah, I mean that's a tough girl, man. And against a pretty game Karine Silva. It was a good fight. It was a good fight. But there's not too much to say about it. And then we have Nazim Sadikov versus Fares Ziam. Now, Nazim Sadikov looked like a complete bum. Look at these numbers, dude. So basically, Fares Ziam on the first round completely controls him in the back, tries to go for submissions, but it doesn't work. Nazim Sadikov had no answers for him. And then Fares Ziam does the exact same thing in the second round. And in the last 2 seconds, he just frames and elbows him straight on the head. And then knocks his ass out with another shot. And the ref, I mean, he was done, honestly, by the end of the round. You could call it like, okay, he's really wobbled. You know, he was about as wobbled as Yuri was in the second Alex Pereira fight at the end of the round. But I would call it a good finish. Nazim was wobbling around. Let's see if we can find it. So, yeah, he had the control. And then elbows, frames and elbows. And look, 2 seconds and too many unanswered shots. And look, he's wobbling around. Yeah. If Herzog wasn't holding his head up, he'd be done. You know? Yeah. I mean, look at these comments, dude. Shut the fuck up. I wonder what race they are. I'm kidding, obviously. But yeah, good fight. Fares Ziam, the beekeeper. I mean, I love Nazim Sadikov too. He's such a fun fighter. Uh, so I'm gonna say Fares Diam obviously should have a ranked opponent. No doubt about it. Absolutely no doubt about it. I want to see him with Rafael Fiziev. No, actually no, he's booked. Fuck. I want to see him with Ignacio Bahamundes then. There's not too many fighters to fight against, but Freziam is just so good. I could see him being top 5 already. He could fight it. He could beat Dan Hooker. He could beat Dan Hooker. So yeah, Freziam, great fighter. We love to see him win like that, especially after his tough situation with his family. I forgot who died in his family, but I think it was his grandfather who died, and he had to pull out of his last fight. He would have dominated that guy anyways. And next we have Nazim Sadikov, matchmaking. I mean, he's such a good fighter too. I actually love him so much. He had such a good fight with Nicholas Motta, and it was so fun. Um, but he needs a step down, and not a big step down, but a step down to where it'll make sense for his career, especially after a brutal knockdown like that. Uh, hmm. Let me see. Let me think. I think he should fight a Nasrat Hakparast. Both coming off of like a pretty bad knockout, but both are very good in their game. Just they need some recovery time, and I think the timelines match up pretty well. And next we have in the early prelims, Bruno Pereira versus Marvin Vittori. Now Marvin Vittori has a chin. These numbers are made up with the total strikes because Marvin Vittori did not land more. Maybe he did, but he just didn't land bigger. So and we actually won this fight. We also won the Ferreziam. We won this fight in terms of the picks. And we also put 2 picks on this, Bruno Ferreira with Marvin Vittori, because we all knew that it was going to be a pretty easy win, and the betting line was completely wrong. It was like a even matchup in the betting line, and it really wasn't. Bruno Ferreira, I think Marvin Vittori won a round, and of course he's going to complain, how's that even a fucking question, man? Like pretend that it was a robbery, but it wasn't. Bruno Ferreira just outlanded. Marvin Vittori has a fucking chin and a half, though. He ate every shot coming for him. Bruno Ferreira just like mashes him up on the feet and trying to go for finishes, but it just doesn't happen. Marvin Vittori eats everything. And in the third round, Bruno Ferreira is kind of like gassing out. I think that's one of his weaknesses that people will see. But nothing really happened. Marvin Vittori didn't really do anything. Of course, low IQ fighter. Didn't really have much to answer. Let's see if there was not really any clips of the fights because it wasn't extremely fun. But good fight for Bruno Ferreira. A good win. Really testing Marvin Vittori's chin. And Marvin Vittori actually looked better in this fight than he did against Brendan Allen, who really fucked up his face. But yeah, fun fight. We won this. Next fight, Jalen Turner versus Edson Barbosa. Now, this start of this fight card was kind of crazy. Jalen Turner, let's see if we can find it. He gets an elbow immediately with his lead elbow, and then like kind of makes him bleed, and then just mashes up his face with every single shot. And Herb Dean really let it go the entire fight. He was just getting his face punched in, and that knockdown is like not indicative. He really fucked him up. You see, there's 2 knockdowns. Edson Barbosa, I think he should retire. 39 years old. Jalen Turner, however, give him a fight close to the rankings. Give him a fight close to the rankings. There's just so many fighters that the bottom 15 of the lightweight rankings or just like close to the top 15 that I think he needs to fight close to the top 15. Give him what's his name? What's the guy? Alexander Hernandez. That's who. Jalen Turner versus Alexander Hernandez. That's gonna be a barn burner, and I think Jalen Turner wins that fight. Fucking comeback. Of course, 15-9 is such a bad record for Jalen Turner, but it's just not indicative of who he is. He's just so much better than that. And I think he can be a top 10 fighter, as he was. But yes, next fight, Iwo Baranowski versus Ivo Aslan. I don't even want to spoil it, but I kind of have to. You guys should just watch it. It was nasty. It was like Pat Barry versus Chet Congo, or whatever the fuck it's called. They were just knocking each other over back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And yeah, like look, of course Evil Aslan has crazy power, and so does Evil Baranowski, as it turns out. Man, I mean, I'm glad I didn't pick this fight because it was just so like either guy could have fucked them up, you know? Like either guy could have won. Both crazy power, and I think the thing that gave Evil Baranowski the win is he's just a little more technical and just like more calculated in his shots. And I'm not saying that he is completely calculated in every shot because he really isn't. But Evil Aslan is slightly less calculated and he just swings for the fences. And Evil Baranowski, of course, swings for fences too, but slightly less, and that's what got him the win. And he's also powerful, just as Evil Aslan is. Uh, Sorry, forgot to mention that we won Jalen Turner versus Edson Barbosa, and we did not put a pick on this. But Evil Baranowski, honestly, this is so far down in the card that I don't know who to pick or for the next fight. But I think you should keep Evil Aslan still here. He's still good. Rather, he's still powerful. And Evil Baranowski, let's give him a fight close to the rankings. And we have Mansour Abdul Malik versus Antonio Tricoli. Antonio Tricoli, who's really a low-level fighter, but I mean, good thing he got the poker money because otherwise he's out of the UFC by now. Mansour Abdul Malik just pretty much locks up a standing guillotine immediately and wins the fight. It's pretty funny how it happened. Yeah, Mansour Abdul Malik, give him a fight close to the rankings. He's a good fighter. And we also won this one with Mansour Abdul Malik. And we also won this one with Myron Santos versus Muhammad Naimov. Pretty much Naimov, let's see if we can find the finish. Because there wasn't anything happening in the fight until the finish. Let's see. Yeah, lands a couple leg kicks and just nukes him. Muhammad Naimov, a low-level fighter. At least he's like super overrated. He lost to Trevor Peek, who's not that good. And Myron Santos, please go up weight. He's too big. His midsection is just gigantic, as you can see. But yeah, fun fight. Fun card overall. Man, unfortunate situations, but that just happens. And the fact that we won overall, we still went up points. I think it was 0.6%. I mean, that's a win to me, I guess, because there were so many unfortunate situations. You know, the main event, the co-main event, Jan Blachowicz versus Guskov, McKinney versus Duncan. I mean, I don't want to be like I don't want to be that guy, but the only loss we had was Manuel Torres, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. UFC 323, generational card. It was great. It was fun to watch. And I'm willing to give up picks just for a fun card, honestly. Just because I love the sport so much. But yeah, that was UFC 323. I got a couple finals coming up, unfortunately. But, I mean, they're going to come up pretty quick. And I think I'll be able to make more content depending on my, how much time I have. But we'll see. But yeah, that's about it. Bye-bye.